Hi, I'm Plushy Matt, and this is Plushy Matt Reviews, Marc Brunet's Art School. This is term one, week 3, and I just want to give you a little bit of a benchmark. This is where I started. This is my current ability at the beginning of this course. So let's just jump straight in and look at this week's assignments. So doing a bit of the visual communication stuff. I think it's important that after I've kind of observed things and found stuff that kind of interested me, I've then kind of chosen to do some drawings based on them. Just kind of looking at what I've observed, as you can see with these kind of rocks. There's kind of a lot more to the shape and form than I expected. Then did the same sort of thing with these drawings of mushrooms. Just kind of trying to work out how the shape and form of them worked. Just jumping on Pinterest, finding ones that I found kind of interesting. I then did the same thing with logs. And I found this one was a really interesting one because there was actually a lot more kind of forms to build up a rock that a rock a tree stump than maybe I would have perceived if I was to draw this from memory. Yeah, so I really kind of enjoyed looking at these and then kind of coming home and jumping on Pinterest and doing some drawings based off of those. And the same again with these gems. Right, I actually found this one the hardest of all of them. Um, Again, if I was to have drawn a gem from memory, I wouldn't necessarily have done all these different planes and kind of shapes, and I found that they were a hell of a lot more complicated than I'd would have initially have thought. So next up, it was watching Mark's top 10 drawing exercises, which I'll link to in the description if you want to check that out as well. I kind of sucked at this more than I expected to, so I'm definitely going to add this to the list of things that I practice daily in my downtime. Um, yeah, just not overall not happy. Um, if I was to have to submit this to be marked, I don't think I would have got a good score. Fortunately, that's not something that happens in this. So next up was gesture drawing. So we started off with some 30-second gesture drawings. I think these came out pretty well. I've not done this for a while, but it is something that I've kind of got experience with doing in the past. Um, I think it was relatively straightforward, just kind of applying what we've already learned, going over the figure drawing stuff. And again, it's something that I've kind of dabbled with previously. I felt quite confident with proportions. I felt quite confident, uh, given that 30 seconds isn't a long time to draw each figure. I feel quite happy with how they came out. And then I chucked in some 60-second ones. That wasn't actually something for this week. I was just enjoying myself. And I wanted to kind of have a little bit of a longer go of it to try and see what the difference would be, which, as you can see, is not a hell of a lot different considering it's twice the time. I think I kind of got more volume to the shapes as opposed to just kind of like a skeleton of what the figure would look like. And again, I was quite happy with how these came out. Um, yeah, quite enjoy this as an exercise, and it's certainly something I'm kind of adding to my daily repertoire. Um, yeah, really enjoyed making these, and as you can see, I think they came out relatively well. I think they're good for proportions, and I think any of these would make a great base to start a piece from. And then finally, to wrap up this week's assignments, was to draw some kind of like copying my favorite artists up to kind of a line art stage. We'll start off with this from Joel Durian. Probably not pronouncing that properly, but I do love this piece, and I think my attempt to recreate it's okay. I kind of interpreted because it said take it up to line art, and I assumed that it didn't mean kind of like polished, clean artwork. I assuming that it means like similar to what we've already been doing with our gesture art, just trying to kind of recreate the kind of feel of what the artist had created in their piece, but not actually going towards a finished piece. I will link to Joel's social media so you can check him out. Brilliant artist. And then finally, the other artist that I chose to copy was Emlet. This is something that I think is a really cool scene. I really like the character, and I think there's a lot of storytelling in this, and I really wanted to find something with a sense of like more of a scene than just a pin-up. Yeah, and I don't think my copy was maybe how I would have liked it. I was happy with kind of small details. I think the face I kind of got quite nicely. I think the proportions are relatively there. Yeah, I think like the overall feel of the scene is kind of there. I certainly think maybe if I was to have added some color, it would have been really fun to kind of play around with that. As you can see, Emlet is a amazing artist when it comes to using kind of the whole scene to build a picture. But yeah, so that is my week 3 review. I think this was definitely a fun week. I really enjoyed getting to try and copy some artists that I aspire to be more like, and I'm definitely pumped for the weeks to come. Yeah, if you want to follow along with Marc Brunet's Art School for Digital Artists, there's a link in the description to join in, and see ya.